Hello, beautiful people. Today I have a little bit of a book haul for you. These are all books that I have acquired over the course of a few months. I've read a couple of them so far. I've been reading so slowly recently and I really need to start getting rid of some books, man. Anywho, let's talk about these books. So the first two that I have here, I have actually already read both of these. And I have been reading outside of my usual lately because I've been in such like a funky reading mood. I've been saying like a reading slump and it feels like a massive reading slump. I just haven't had the mental capacity to give to books recently that I have in the past. But I've read both of these already. So Mariana Zapata, we have Colty, and we have The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. This was the first one that I picked up. This is about a professional soccer player. Her team gets a new coach. He is a very, very famous professional male athlete. He's super good looking and he's kind of a jerk. They meet and they're enemies to lovers. They fall in love. They meet, they fall in love. I liked it. I really liked this. This is exactly what I needed at the time that I read it. I was so addicted to it when I was reading it. I haven't had that feeling with a book at all this year, really. I haven't had that feeling at all this year, actually, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe like kind of-ish a couple of times. But this was the first book this year that I was like, oh my gosh, like I'd rather be reading than doing anything else. Which I miss that feeling. I miss that feeling. I'm nostalgic for that friggin' feeling, man. I miss that feeling, and this book gave me that, and I'm grateful to it for that reason. So, I picked up this afterwards, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata, and I ended up DNFing this. I read half of it and I just hated this. I really didn't like it. I hated the main love interest. So it's about a professional football player and his housekeeper, kind of, or his assistant, and she quits early on in the book and he like comes back and is like, no, please come back and work for me. And she's like, you're like a big fat jackass. He's like, I was? No, I wasn't. And then she's like, yeah, you were a jerk. And he's like, no, please come back to work for me. And then he's like, but wait, my citizenship is going to expire. Please marry me so I can be a citizen. And then I will pay off your student loans, because the thing is like the financial dynamic between these two people. He's loaded and she's like not. And she needs to have her student loans paid off and she really wants a house. So he's like, I'll pay off your student loans, I'll buy you a house, marry me so I can have my citizenship. She ends up agreeing to it, and it's like, I'm assuming they fall in love from there. But I hated the guy, so I thought he was a jerk. Like, I really genuinely thought he was a jerk. And he did a couple of things, like, in this book that you can't recover from that. And that's what pissed me off. I'm like, nothing about the actions that you have just displayed, you can't recover from that, in my opinion. I don't care how much nicer you get throughout the book or how sympathetic you become. I just didn't like him. I just didn't feel like he could recover, and I didn't like anything about him. I did like this, though. So, totally different experiences with Mariana Zapata. I might be interested in picking up All Roads Lead Here, however, I'm not eager to get to that after my experience with this. I think this was just good luck for me. So I gave this 4 stars, and this I DNF'd, so there you go. We have another romance book, which will be my next read because I picked it up for a book club that I'm doing with friends in real life, which is very exciting. We have Happy Place by Emily Henry, which is such a beautiful, joyous cover. I read all 3, I read the 3 of her other books, and I have a vlog about it, which I will link down below if you're interested. And I really loved Book Lovers, and I thought Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation were fine. She's really funny. Like, I think that she has a really good humor in her writing. I just haven't found the chemistry between her characters to be anything amazing in my opinion. So I'm curious to see how this goes. I know this is about a couple who used to be engaged and now they're not together anymore, and they go, but nobody knows, and they go on a summer trip with their friends and they have to pretend to be together the whole time for some reason, and then they fall back in love. I feel like this wasn't something that I was super interested in picking up. Like, I probably wouldn't have picked this up if it weren't for the book club that I'm doing with my friends, but I'm curious to see what happens in this. Let's do the 2 middle grade books next, because I love middle grade. Middle grade is like my joy. Comfort, it's comfort and joy, man. It's so freaking amazing. I love middle grade. So we have The Wild Robot by Peter Brown here, which is super cute. I'm currently reading it. I should finish this today, probably. It's about a robot who washes up on an island with a bunch of animals on it, basically. She comes to life and she has to learn how to interact with nature and with the animals on the island. She ends up adopting like a gosling, so she has like a little baby goose, and she's like the mother of the goose, and it's really cute. It's just cute, lighthearted. I don't really have anything much to say about it. It's just cute. It's a robot on an island with ducks and squirrels. And then we have, which I'm really excited to pick up, and I wanted to pick this up when I bought it, but I didn't. Okay, I didn't. This is The Swifts by Beth Lincoln. Look at how cute that looks. So this is also middle grade, and this is about a family who, ooh, look at the naked hardcover. Cute. This is about a family who everybody on the day that they're born in this family gets given a name, and that's like a weird word name, and that's supposed to be their entire personality, basically. And our main character, I think her name is Shenanigan. She wants to be a detective. Like, she doesn't want to be all of the things that her name implies that she is. I think that there's like a murder at the beginning of the book, or somebody dies, and she wants to kind of solve this murder in her family, her big family home. It just sounds cute. It sounds like good fun. There's going to be a lot of wordplay in this, and it seemed pretty funny the first couple pages that I read in the bookstore before I picked this up. And there's another illustration. I abso-freaking-lutely love middle grade, guys. Freaking-lutely love it. Okay? I don't even know, man. Alrighty, so the rest of the books that I have here, I have 7 books left, and they're all adult. These 3 books were actually gifted to me by someone I know in real life, which was really, really nice of them. They went to the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books at USC, which is really cool, and they brought these back for me. Again, super, super nice. I'm very, very grateful. So they brought back Play It As It Lays by Joan Didion. I read The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, which is nonfiction, and it was very moving. She's very intelligent. I can't wait to read Play It As It Lays. And then they brought back Summer of the Big Baki. I've never heard of this before, but this is by Naomi Hirahara, and it's about a family with a bunch of secrets. Hiroshima, 1945, Los Angeles, 1999, a summer of war, a summer of secrets, a summer of revenge. The theme between all 3 of these books were that they're big Los Angeles books. Basically, they're all set in Los Angeles. And then we have In a Lonely Place by Dorothy B. Hughes with an afterword by Megan Abbott, and this beautiful New York Review of Books edition, which I did a whole video about as well, which I guess I'll link below. I mean, stop pulling my leg. It'll be down there, man. All right. Yes. I love these editions. I think they're gorgeous. And again, I've never heard of this either. Set in Los Angeles in the late 1940s. So I just quickly read the back. This apparently is about, it's kind of a crime-ish novel, and it's about this guy who I think he flies planes, and he loves the freedom and the loneness of being in the sky. And he comes to Los Angeles and he's all upset, right? So he was promised the glitz and the glamour and this great life, but of course it's not like that. And he's sleeping with all these women, his funds are running out, his frustrations are growing, he was promised a great life. And then he meets his old friend who's now working for the LAPD. There's a strangler who's been terrorizing the women of the city for months. So kind of a crime novel. Guy trying to find himself. Maybe he's the bad guy. I'm kind of hoping that's the plot twist. I don't really know, but I'm excited to read it. Okay. I picked this up a while ago. Okay, I picked this up when the International Booker long list was announced, because this was on a lot of people's predictions lists and it sounded interesting. And it's Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, translated by Megan McDowell. It sounds like part fantasy, part horror, family drama, magical realism. I read The Dangers of Smoking in Bed. The Dangers of Smoking in Bed, I think is what it's called. Her short story collection, which was previously longlisted for the International Booker Prize. And I, like with any short story collection for me, I loved some and I don't remember the other ones. I'm excited to see what this is exactly. Okay, and then we picked this up, or I picked this up in Barnes & Noble kind of on a whim. Not like on a full whim, okay? I listened to a podcast. It was the Classical Mind podcast. I listened to the episode on Beowulf, which made me want to reread Beowulf. I really loved Beowulf actually, but I read the version translated by Maria Devana Hadley? Yeah, Maria Devana Headley. This was fantastic for so many reasons, and I'm not going to go into it, but pick this up if you're at all interested in Beowulf. I think that it would be really interesting to read that alongside the Seamus Heaney translation, because that's what they were discussing in the podcast. And I think that the Seamus Heaney translation is the one taught in schools, and I think there's also an introduction. There's an introduction by J.R.R. Tolkien in Seamus Heaney's translation, or a lot of Lord of the Rings was inspired by Beowulf, and especially that time period that Beowulf was written in. So it's just really interesting to me. And that day I went in and I picked up this book, John Gardner's Grendel. Now that I'm talking about this, I really can't wait to read this. It's the story of Beowulf from Grendel's perspective, and he's the monster in Beowulf. And then we have East of Eden by John Steinbeck. So a goal of mine throughout life in the next few years, I guess, is to read more Steinbeck, and I've mentioned that in previous videos, and everyone said I needed to read East of Eden, specifically prioritize East of Eden. I have Cannery Row by Steinbeck, which I was planning on picking up next. It's ready to go when I'm ready for it, but everyone said to read East of Eden. And I trust you people. I trust you people. The only thing that makes me nervous about John Steinbeck is that I didn't care for Grapes of Wrath. On a prose level, he's a phenomenal... Like, how could you not be mesmerized by John Steinbeck's writing? But I don't think that I cared for the story of the Grapes of Wrath. And this is like his other big book. So I was put off of it for that reason. And then last but not least, we have some nonfiction. And we have a book by Carl Jung, and that is Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. I think this is his kind of autobiography or memoir. It's just him writing about his life, I think. In the spring of 1957, when he was 81 years old, Carl Jung undertook the telling of his life story at regular intervals. He had conversations with his colleague and friend, Anelia Jaffe, and collaborated with her in the preparation of the text based on these talks, and continued to work on the final stages of the manuscript until shortly before his death in 1961. So yeah, this is basically the last thing that he wrote before he died, and it's him writing about, I think, his theories, like all of his life works, kind of, and how they manifested in his real life, and what led him to be interested in certain things, and then believe certain things and learn certain things, and just his life in general, how it had affected him, perhaps. Yes, and I'm very much so looking forward to this. I think psychology is very interesting. Okay, so that's my haul. Isn't it fun? Look at the stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Let's sing more. Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more books always. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.